This video is going to be different than any video I've filmed here on my YouTube channel before. It's been sitting extremely heavy on my heart after the election and just everything that I've been seeing about it. All of the trans people I've seen on the internet freaking out that they are going to lose access to their hormones or lose their gender affirming care. I'm just going to speak my opinions about the entire situation and why I think Donald Trump won this presidency in a landslide, from my opinion, which is of a trans woman. I want to talk about the media. The media is absolutely the worst enemy. And I think the biggest problem is there are so many people out there, and I don't know if you are one of those people who are watching this, who just don't do your research on your own. I, back in 2016, was the same person. I didn't do research. All I did was see stuff on social media and take it and run with it. I was like, this is true. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it everywhere. So this has to be the concrete evidence of what is quote unquote true. And that's just not the case. I saw a video the other day. I will insert it right here.
I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age.
I know I'm not the only one that heard at any age.
So basically, that creator shared a video that was only a snippet of the actual video. I did my own actual research and found the original video and what the context of the original video is, which I will post also right here.
Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children.
As you can see, the context of the videos are completely different. The first one that I showed you makes it seem like he is taking gender-affirming care away from everybody. The second video actually just shows that he is restricting and removing gender-affirming care for minors under the age of 18. I saw everyone on the internet running with the words "at any age." Mind you, the context of the video is talking about minors. At any age would be 0 to 17, between those age ranges. The fact that people just took one little phrase and ran with it is mind-boggling to me. And they are creating fear, panic, and stress among trans women, thinking that they are going to lose access to their gender affirming care. And that really does not sit well with me at all, because I, like I said, was one of those people. I woke up in 2016 when Donald Trump won and I cried. I was like, you know what? I'm going to lose my rights. I'm not going to transition. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. And guess what? During Donald Trump's presidency, I changed my name legally. I transitioned. I was on hormones, all of these things, and I never got anything taken away. The fact that there's so much missing context and misinformation that is getting spread around about so many different topics. And I really focus on the trans issues because that is something that does directly affect me. I am not saying that everyone who is a politician is untouchable. They never have any flaws. They never anything. But my problem is the misinformation that is being spread. It's widespread media that wants you to hate Donald Trump or wants you to like Kamala. Like, there's just so many things, and you have to be your own independent researcher to get to the bottom of it on your own and make informative decisions based off of facts instead of what you saw on the internet, because things can be doctored, edited. AI is so huge nowadays. I had so many people in my comments that had the full video that you guys just saw in front of them, and they still couldn't wrap their heads around it. It's like they have been fed this lie and they continue to believe it, and they don't want to see any other perspective, and they don't want to take things for what they are. When that video was talking about minors. Mind you, my opinions about minors transitioning, I think it's pretty clear. I personally don't think minors should medically transition. Now, that doesn't mean that minors shouldn't socially transition. If your kid comes to you, or you're a kid and you want to transition and you talk to your parents and everything in it, and it's something that is decided between a group of people and psychologists and all this other stuff, then I think it is perfectly okay to socially transition. If you want to go by a different name, if you want to grow your hair out, start wearing the opposite gender clothes, listen, I am all for that. My thing is, and this is the most important thing, is nowadays it's so hard to kind of tell where you fit in into these new societal labels that they're putting out there. I mean, there's new ones coming out daily. So it's like you hear so many different ones, and 9 times out of 10, I have no idea what they even stand for. Okay. I've seen pronouns that are Z, Zim, Zer. Don't know what that is. I've seen, gender seasons. I mean, I have seen a plethora of things that just honestly don't make sense. It's like when I was younger, yes, I knew I was trans from the age of 5. But at that time in the 90s, I didn't have a word, I didn't have a label to put to it. All I knew was that I felt like a girl inside my whole entire life. Now, that's not to say that there are true trans children that feel the exact same way I did as a kid. I'm not saying that. But what I will say is in today's society, if someone is a tomboy or someone is more of a feminine, little kid, they're going to automatically be like, this person's trans. We're wanting to label everybody as trans if they don't fit into the normal gender binary of like what men should do and what females should do. It's going to end with a lot of regret if people, as soon as they think, oh, my son likes to play with dolls, immediately get this kid on hormones, immediately start pumping my kid with hormones. In actuality, when they grow up and when they mature, they could grow out of things. I had so many people in my TikTok comment section that were like, oh yeah, I grew up a tomboy. I grew up a tomboy. Imagine if I grew up in this day and age. I would have thought that I was trans and I needed to transition. And they said they ended up growing out of it. And that's why I think it's super important for children to really come into their own on their own. So for me transitioning, I had no idea what being trans was. This was before Caitlyn Jenner. This was before the age of social media. I didn't have a label to put to it. All I did know was that I felt like a girl and I wanted to be a girl. That was all I knew. I truly didn't even think that it was possible. I thought it was just going to be something I was going to have to live with for the rest of my life with no ability to change it. So I think it's super important for kids to be kids, to grow up, to explore, to figure out who they are. And when they are of age, 18, and they're like, you know what? I've had this many years of being consistently this. This is who I am. This is not being fed to me by the media or my parents or by teachers at school or by strangers. This is just who I am. And letting kids, like I said, come into their own on their own is extremely important. So yes, I don't agree with minors medically transitioning. You may agree, you may not agree. But as a trans person who grew up in the 90s, who really got to grow up and really learn about who I was on my own and discover that, I think that's extremely important for everybody else to do also. I hate to bring this poor girl up, but look at Jazz Jennings. I mean, they documented that stuff since she was a kid. And it's so gross to just think about everything that happened to her and then, not going through male puberty and then having gender reassignment surgery, not having enough tissue, having to have revisions and just putting this child through literal hell. Now, coming out as quote unquote asexual because at the end of the day, she probably is very uncomfortable in her own body if she maybe didn't take puberty blockers and she, got to go through male puberty and have enough tissue down there to be able to have a proper gender reassignment surgery. The situation could be completely different. My thoughts are for people who will end up with regret because at the end of the day, when you start chopping things off and pumping things in you, there are things that are just irreversible and there's just things you can't do about it. And I just want to make sure that people are safe and they are making the best decisions that work for them. So off the topic of that, other points of why I think Donald Trump won this election is because the left and Democrats ran on abortion. That was their one thing, that was their ticket item that they were going to win on. The thing that people fail to realize is that if Kamala won, there was no way, okay, no way for her to bring abortion back to the federal level, okay? Roe versus Wade was already overturned. It is in the states. There was nothing she could have done at all. And the fact that we ran with that, and that was the driving force, and the driving force was, gender transition and all of this stuff, which has honestly turned so many people away, hence why Donald Trump won the popular vote, the electoral college. We really have to self-reflect and think, well, why did they lose? Donald Trump was so hated, so all of this after everything, why did people choose him to be president again? And that's where we have to just sit with it and say, you know what? The issues that we ran on were not the issues that were really concerning the majority of the country. People are starving. People are literally getting by ends meet. I mean, pocket change at this point. And I'm sorry, but gender transition and abortion is not people's top priority. And the fact that that party ran with those two things and countless others, it's just there's a problem there. The economy is falling apart, and Kamala has already sent billions of dollars to Ukraine. I mean, that turned a lot of people off. Imagine your country is suffering. Your country is suffering and needs help, and you're sending billions of dollars we don't have as a country over to somewhere else. So you're just devaluing the dollar. Now the people of America are somehow going to end up paying that by raising taxes, so many different things. And I just think a lot of people haven't critically thought. And I am someone who did not like Donald Trump. I'm telling you right now, I'm someone who did not like him. I was fearful. I need to feel all these things because I listened to mainstream media and I didn't do my own research. I found a video of Donald Trump talking about abortion in 1999, and I'll play it right here.
Partial birth abortion, the eliminating of abortion in the third trimester, big issue in Washington. Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of abortion. I hate it. I hate everything it stands for. I cringe when I listen to people debating the subject.
You guys heard it here first. I mean, he literally said he hates the concept of it. He cringes when people talk about it, but he is so pro-choice. And the fact that so many people can, be shaving their heads, I mean, it's getting ridiculous out there. I mean, shaving their heads, divorcing their husbands. I mean, it's insane. The fear-mongering that is being set. And people are ruining their lives over it. And that's why this misinformation is irritating the absolute crap out of me, because people are making huge life-altering decisions based off something that they saw on the internet that isn't true. You heard it come out of his mouth. 1999. Do you know how the world was in 1999? For him to come out and say that he is so pro-choice shows you that that's what he truly felt. Because in 1999, getting an abortion was not cool, I can tell you that. And even today, I mean, it's more normalized, but back then it was absolutely not. Taboo, hush hush. Now, I don't want you to think that I don't think Donald Trump has ever done anything wrong, because that's absolutely not the case. I am just telling you why I think this man won the election in a landslide. Just look at the Joe Biden and Harris administration. I mean, the America we're living in right now is hard. I mean, I make very good money, but it is still not like it was back then. I'm sorry, it's not. And I feel so bad for people that work and make average yearly salaries. And I'm like, I just feel so bad for them. And our focuses are completely out of whack. Like, our priorities are completely out of whack. The main point that I want to get across in this video is the fact, stop listening to mainstream media. Do your own research and come to your own opinion on your own. Because like I said, I was someone who fell into the trap of just listening to what I heard and believing it at face value instead of really doing my own deep dive research. And then when I started to do that, I have completely switched how I think. My brain does not think like it used to in 2016. Now I completely agree with a lot of the stuff Donald Trump says. I don't think minors should transition, and that's that. I also think illegal immigration is a very big problem. I have no problem with immigration, but illegal immigration is extremely detrimental to our economy and the people out there. Now that you've made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I just really wanted to get that out because it's been bothering me for I can't even tell you how long. And I was really iffy about posting it because I'm like, you know what? This is not really where my channel has gone before. But at this point, I feel like I need to speak what I think about things, because at the end of the day, there is so much misinformation going out there. If I can bring some light to actual factual information, that's exactly what I'm going to start doing. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye, guys.